What's going on, everybody? I was having a conversation with my cousin earlier this week, and he called me up and said, "Steven, man, I have a interview to be a cold caller, and what should I do?" All right, he's never done cold calling before. He doesn't know anything about scripts or anything like that. So I shared some notes with him because I've done a lot of cold calling over my career over the last almost 20 years now. Right, so I want to share it with y'all. Okay, so I broke this down in a quick visual. I'm going to share my screen and we'll go ahead and get into it. So I'm not professing to be some like perfect cold call or anything like that, but these are some things I've noticed and I've learned over the thousands of cold calls I've made over the years. Okay. So these are principles, all right? So turning conversation into next steps. Number one is leading with curiosity. Ask how and what questions to uncover their world. Avoid asking them to tell, explain, or describe. I'm sorry. Avoid asking them to tell, explain, describe, and why. All right. Example phrases you want to use are like, "What prompted you to take this call? How are you handling this today? What would success look like 6 months from now?" When we lead with curiosity, uh, what we're doing is we are putting ourselves in a situation where the prospect talks more than we do. All right. That's the main thing we want to do. We don't want to be yapping all day long. It's already a cold call. You're going to make it worse. You're going to make the situation worse by you trying to talk over the prospect or just you talking. All right. You're calling so they can start talking. So don't forget that. Next one is you want to focus on value before your solution. So it looks like the value I provide is, here's my promise to you. Here's how they can create value for you. Those are just a few phrases. It could be many other things, but the main thing is like, again, our focus is on getting the prospect to continue to stay on the phone with you, right? So if you give them some value, like, hey, I promise that by the end of this call, you're gonna get this, you're gonna know this, all right, you'll have more information about this, all right. That's going to take you a lot further than just saying, "Hey, my name is Steven and I work with Amethyst Solutions, and we buy HVAC companies." Right? They don't care. People do not care. I just want you to remember that, right? You are not special, and no one cares. Remember that when you are on a cold call. Okay, so by remembering that, you know that you are in the second position, they're in the first position. So we want to do things that uh, show value to our prospects so they can continue listening. People are selfish, and they're specifically going to be selfish on a cold call because they weren't trying to talk to you. They were minding their business and you came up. Okay. So add that value, show the value instead of just showing your solution. Next, use stories, not just facts. Humans are emotion based. They're not rational and logical beings. Okay. So stories create emotion, they build credibility, and they help people see themselves in the success that we're trying to pitch to them. Right. Let me tell you a quick story. I worked with a client who was in a similar situation. Hey, here's what happened. All right. I told y'all a story in the very beginning of this video. I said, hey, I had a cousin who's working on being a cold caller, right? Stories keep people hooked in. If I just told you, hey, these are 13 facts about cold calling, and this is going to help you get 20% better, more than likely, it's not going to make you watch, right? Now, future pace constantly. Okay, if we can keep painting a picture of what things could look like by continuing to add value, continue to sell stories, we move their mind from today's problem to tomorrow's results, tomorrow's solutions. Okay, that helps them see what's possible. If we work together, here's how this process could work. Imagine 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now. Life could be more like this if you never had this problem again. Would you agree? That's all future pacing. Okay. Ask for permission. Y'all, the more we get, the more yeses we get, the better, the stronger the commitment is going to be at the very end. If we never ask for anything, all right, and the first time we ask is going to be like, hey, so when can we schedule a call? Or hey, would you like to buy this product? You're going to have a hard time closing. Okay. Permission lowers resistance and creates a collaborative, comfortable conversation. Hey, would it be okay if I ask a few questions? Yes, of course. Right. You've already interrupted their day. So let's ask permission so we can continue the conversation and also so we can get those small yeses. Small yeses begin to compound. If people get used to nodding their head along, They're going to be more likely to keep nodding their head along as the conversation goes on. All right. Would it be all right if I shared an observation? Hey, would that be okay if? All right. Ask permission. All right. Again, this is just a quick, this video is quick. I could just stay right there for a bit. But I was trying to give y'all some tips. I'm not trying to teach y'all a long, drawn out cold call principle video. All right. So make commitments small and easy. Minimize the size of the commitment. The only next step is moving the conversation forward. We would only need to move forward with the next step. Hey, let's do this if it's okay. Hey, would that be unreasonable? I think 5 and 6 are interchangeable, right? Ask for permission throughout and make smaller commitments. I would say ask for permission for small commitments, right? Next, build trust intentionally. Communicate respect, appreciation, and partnership. One of those things, guys, on building that trust intentionally and communicating respect, shut up. All right. When the other person is talking, you listen. Hey, Mr. Prospect, just so you know, as you're talking, I'm taking a few notes. So if it takes a little time for me to respond, just know that I'm taking some notes. All right. I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. And I want you to know that I don't need you to repeat yourself or anything like that. If this moves forward, I'll be able to share those notes with one of my partners. Is that okay? That's future pacing, asking for permission for a small commitment, and building trust intentionally. That's in one sentence right there. Okay. Gain agreement before the meeting starts. So you've already, again, I'm going to keep reverting back to this. You have interrupted their day. They don't know why you're calling them. All right. So we can create a mutual agenda so the call is collaborative and focus on what matters most. It puts them at ease. So now they know it's not going to be a long 40-minute call. They can have an idea of, hey, these next 2 or 3 items are going to happen. They're going to ask me a few questions. At the end, they'll see if I agree, and they'll see if they can schedule a call. If we can put that in a mutual agenda in those first 30 seconds with the prospect, it's going to make everything easier for both of you, right? Because you as the cold caller, you could be in a situation where you get nervous. You're like, oh shit, what do I do next? Well, hey, I got an agenda already scheduled out. All right, my script says this. All right, great, I'll follow that. And the person that's listening to you, they're like, well, I don't have to hang up on this cat because I know that you only got X, Y, and Z left to do, right? All right, next. Close throughout the conversation. I'm going to say ask for permission throughout and making small commitments. Also looks like close throughout the conversation. Get small agreements at each step so the next step feels like the natural conclusion. Hey, does that make sense? Would solving that be valuable? If we could solve that, would that be worth exploring? These are all are like test closes, right? Next, remove objections before they exist. Invite concerns early so you can address them and reduce hesitation. Do you see a reason why we shouldn't get on the next call? Hey, what reason is there to not move forward with or make you hesitate? And then you shut up. So 7 and 10, like communicate respect and appreciation. Remember I said, hey, stop talking so much. Some of these things, remove objections before they exist. Do you see a reason why we shouldn't get on the next call? You say that you got to stop talking. Don't interrupt. Same thing with what reasons are there to not move forward or make you hesitate. You got to stop talking. Anything like that, you got to stop talking after that. Okay. Now, in with a recap. Number 11 also connects to build trust intentionally. Communicate respect. So close the loop and confirm everything was covered so nothing important is left open. Hey, did we cover everything on the call to make it a success? Is there anything else you need? Anything else you need from me? Now we end with that recap. Now, this is what you talked about. We talked about X, Y, and Z. You remember Mr. Prospect? I told you I'll be taking notes. Well, these are notes I took. Does that sound like right to you? Right? That shows respect. That builds trust. People buy from those who they know, like, and trust. Right? So that builds that like and that trust. Right? So assume there should be another meeting. Now that goes back to that mutual agenda we talked about in number 8. So we need to be referencing the next meeting in the mutual agenda before we even start. Right? That is a test close, like I talked about in number 9. Don't wait until the end. Hey, here's what will happen on our next call. Hey, does that timeline work for you? Shall we get something on the calendar now? These are all things that reference the next meeting. Okay. Ask more than you tell. Sell the future, not the product. Earn small commitments continuously. Lower resistance through collaboration, permission, respect. Last but not least, guide the decision process to the next logical step. Guys, when we're on a cold call, last but not least, y'all, when we're on a cold call, we are the person that's in control. We are the person that's reading the script. We are the person that has made the call. So we're guiding them through with confidence and respect, all right? We're guiding them through to the result we're looking for, right? We cannot control if the prospect picks the phone up. We cannot control if they're having a good day or not. But what we can control is our energy and our effort. Energy is being upbeat, all right? Smiling while we're on the phone. I like to take my calls standing up. Personally, I feel like I'm more confident that way and I sound better, right? And I can control my effort. I'm going to make it through. I'm going to make it through my script, and I'm also going to be cognizant of each step that I'm in, right? So I'm going to overcome objections when necessary. I'm not going to let somebody just say me, hey, well, I'll think about it. No. What would you like to think about? What's giving you some pause, right? I'm going to push to overcome my objections, right? By effort is closing throughout the conversation. Effort is building trust intentionally, gain agreement before the meeting starts, right? I'm going to hit my points. So all I control is energy and effort throughout the process. Guys, I hope it helps y'all. Hope you got something from that. Got any questions? Hit me up.